This is going to be your guide to running double gauntlet in New World. So what I'm going to do is show off the mastery, then the attributes, then what I'm running, and then the combos that I'm going for. If you enjoyed the video or if it helps out in any way, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, and comment your thoughts down below. Now you might notice, I'm not maxed out in Ice Gauntlet or Void Gauntlet yet, but I feel like I've got a pretty awesome build going, and the other things aren't really a part of that build, so we can just talk about now, which is also good, because it means while leveling, you can hit the peak of this build before needing to put in a couple more hours or whatever to get the full Ice and Void Gauntlet setup. So with this, I'm all in on Ice Tempest because the abilities have a lot of really good synergy together, and it works really well with the skill perks so you can put on the armor or weapons. And the build order, it's kind of whatever. Like, you just want to get your 3 skills down, and then as you level up, you just put points into it, and you want to get the ultimate chill because this just sounds busted. Ice Gauntlet abilities, chill targets, increasing ice damage dealt by 25% for 3 seconds. Now the big thing here is ice pylon attacks do not apply chill, which is why I'm not running the ice pylon, and this is going to be a leeching build, so Entomb doesn't do anything for us. We're getting crazy amounts of sustain from our Ice Gauntlet and our Void Gauntlet. It's pretty much going to be the same thing for the Void Gauntlet. We're running mostly Annihilation because Void Blade is busted, and then you just kind of create crazy AoE zones, fight inside of it, never die. Works out pretty well, but we have the Orb of Decay, pretty much because Draining Orb means you never run out of mana. You pull a huge pack, you drop all of your abilities, you Draining Orb, and then you get everything back for the next ability rotation and cooldowns. Also, Orb of Decay is really good. You throw it into a huge pack of enemies, and it does surprising amounts of damage, and it has the healing utility behind it. Then with Annihilation so far, we have Keen Confidence, so critical chance, and then cooldown reduction on crits, more critical chance while abilities on cooldown, so you blow everything and then you're just slicing things up. Critical heals you for 15%, and then 5% cooldown reduction on all abilities when successfully hitting enemies affected by 3 or more debuffs, and they're going to be getting debuffs from everywhere. Which also means we can put Slowing Orb for our next point, but I don't really see a point in Detonating Orb. And the reason why we don't have anything on Decay over here is because it's for the ranged attacks, which we're never going to be using on the Void Gauntlet. That's also why we don't have anything in Builder just yet. We might want to go over here because you reduce the cooldown of Ice Gauntlet abilities by 20% from a frosted area. So yeah, that's a part of our combo, but we're wasting everything to get there, where I don't care about blocking or haste or gaining more mana. And Frozen Touch is good if we're like putting down slow for 4 seconds and then going into Void Gauntlet, so it's probably how we're going to round it out. There's probably going to be some sweats out there that are like, this isn't how you're supposed to run any of these, it's so bad. But trust me, the build goes hard, and then this is how I have my attributes set up. So yeah, we are in the end game, which means we have a lot of high level gear stats, and we're wearing the attuned pants, so we get away with a lot of extra stuff, like 50 dexterity. I mean, that's just damage at full health and crit chance, which is really good. Same thing for the 50 in focus. Might seem weird, but leeching effects count as incoming healing. So you don't need to like have a healer heal you or drink a potion to get bonus. You can actually do it from your own lifesteal. So yeah, if you can tick up into the 50 focus, it's worth it. We have maxed out intelligence, and then it starts like fall off with the soft caps. And then we have just constitution bonuses. So we're tanky, we do tons of damage, and then we have a little bit of extra utility inside of it, which is nice. Then we get to the gear, which is not this. Now, the build kind of cheats because it heavily relies on the Blood Drinker, but level 1 mutation Starstone Barrows is not difficult, and that's going to be accessible kind of early into the late game, even on hitting level 65. The build is still really good without Blood Drinker, it just means you can't pull as large of packs, but you do more damage. So in group situations, you're just fine, especially if you have a healer. As for the gear, getting this gear in this game is pretty crazy. I'm in Marima, so one of the largest servers, but it's also pretty dead since no one's playing anymore until Aeternum launches, and then everyone's going to fresh start servers. So even that's been like hard to find gear after everything's been scooped up and no one's contributing anymore, so I'm kind of just taking what I can get. But like Ice Harnessing, yeah, you want that because a lot of your damage is going to be coming from the Ice Gauntlet. And I even converted, like I did a little bit of a test where it's like, well, what if I convert my Void Gauntlet into half ice damage, because a lot of things are going to have ice harnessing on it. You can do that, but one thing I found that didn't work was I thought you could do like something super duper extra cheaty, and by going into this, you throw down your Ice Storm, and then you switch to Void Gauntlet, and then they would still be chilled, because it's just a chill effect, and it lasts for several seconds. So like, oh, that's just a global debuff. That means they take more ice damage. But in my testing, when I put down Ultimate Chill, and then hit them with the Void Gauntlet, the ice damage didn't go up. So you don't have to put it in Aquamarine. Also, you could go for like a Void set. So if you have like Void Harnessing gear, then you can just kind of swap this around to where Ice Gauntlet gets the Amethyst, and then Void Gauntlet gets the Emerald, and then you can still do like crazy amounts of Void damage once you pop off into your combo, because that Void Blade is just nuts. Aside from that, like, yeah, everything else kind of works out, because you drop all of your abilities, and then that's going to drop your enemies really low, and then you can just kind of go for Opportunist on top of it. So yeah, the rest of the gear is just kind of Enchanted Ward, whatever else you can get, preferably Ice Harnessing, preferably some of the abilities. We also talked about the pants, where you just get so many bonus stats so you can kind of convert into other things. But if you have some other artifacts that you prefer using, you can, and then Enchanted Ward with the Unbroken Winds. So what we have is Unending Thaw on our gauntlet, because getting 11% damage instead of 6% damage is crazy. Like this, you want it on your weapon, and then getting the extra broken from Wind Chill is also really nice. You don't need the Orb or Rupture perks, but you do want the Void Blade, and I don't think you need to put the Void Blade perk on the gauntlet. You can just put Leeching on the gauntlet, and that's going to be Lifesteal, and then you can find a Lifesteal effect inside of your armor, and then that's going to be pretty good. As for the weapons themselves, Blessed, you don't need it. Like I said, I'd rather have Leeching here. I do like the Mortal Power, though, because it's just crazy snowballing, and then you get 15% empowered. Also, because of your Void Blade, Enchanted, really good as well. You also don't need Leeching, especially if you have the Blood Drinker. So before you get Blood Drinker, have one with Leeching, so it's kind of like keep a Leeching Enchanted Void Gauntlet. If you pick one of those up, Mortal Power is also really good. I don't think you need Refreshing Move, because you're going to see like the cooldowns just kind of do nutty things on this build without Refreshing Move. And you can put Keenly Empowered. I just don't like that there's downtime on it, but it is nice. Like, you lead with a crit, you get that damage, you kill an enemy faster, and then your Mortal Power comes in faster, and then at some point you're just going to re-proc Keenly Empowered, so you're keeping up a lot of damage with that. As for the Ice Gauntlet, so Unending Thaw, you still want the Refreshing Move here, even though I think the cooldowns still kind of go crazy. I'm just, again, kind of taking what I can get. You don't need Vicious on the Ice Gauntlet as much. You don't even need Keen as well, because the persistent damage of your Ice Field actually can't crit. And also, it doesn't really seem like your Winds can crit as well. They're trying to, like, keep that balance, because those could crit. Yeah, then you're doing too much damage. But you can crit on some of the other things inside the build, so a little bit of extra damage is nice. Refreshing Move, just kind of, as you drop everything, you spam out a little bit, or maybe like getting the end of the cooldown when you switch back to your Ice Gauntlet. That's useful. Life Stealing, again, to make up for not having a Blood Drinker, mostly just about having the Unending Thaw. Then I would prefer having Thwarting Strikes, because you actually gain Grit while using your Wind Chill, and then that just gives you free Wind Chill damage. Amulet, you want Divine Health, and then whatever other effect you like. I couldn't get anything else, so like Divine Health, 692 for under 10k. I just kind of took this. Lightning Protection, that almost never matters, so any kind of protection, then that's going to be what you want. Regenerating, this is a good place to just kind of get a free refreshing. Then you can have Luck. Also with the Amulet and Earring, you can get the potions cooling down and healing you more. But also if you're doing like super duper lifesteal, that kind of doesn't matter, because you're not like constantly drinking potions and you're not having any mana issues with this build. And then Keen Awareness is what I put on the Blood Drinker, because if I'm going to be using this for all my builds, it's just good to have the crit chance on everything. So I'm going to be using slash weapons, void weapons, ice, fire, every kind of weapon. And that's that setup. So I think now we can just kind of go into what we do. Okay, so here's how I test my builds. I do large pulls at Castrum Kerberos, and if I survive or get crazy DPS, it just kind of shows we got something here. So the first part, like, and you also break it down to thirds, and then you can use this to loop weapon experience or farm the Ancient Globs. Okay, so what I do is I open up with Ice Spike, and then I put down the Ice Field, and then I stay at the edge of it, and that's where I use the Frost Breath, and then we go into Void, where I go into Blade, drop down the ring, and then if we get low, that's when I throw out the sphere, and then we just kind of like hack everything down. And see, like, somehow ability cooldowns are already immediately back up, because like you just hit things. I don't have Refreshing Move. Max Refreshing only gives like a couple seconds, not enough to really matter. And then just like that, that entire pack is down. You can just leave the Warhound here for later, where it's like, yeah, I come back and the Warhound's already spawned in and then just dies naturally instead of spawning during it. But we do damage on this build, and that's kind of the thing. Then we go back over the Ice Gauntlet, and we do it again. And if everything's still alive, you just go back to the Ice Gauntlet and your cooldowns are up. So for this, I like to go to the right side because there's Rangers, and then like you hit him. Actually, if you hit that guy, it aggroes both. And then you just kind of want to put your distance down here. If you get like not full health, then you can do that. Heal a potion. Try to pull in everything. It gets kind of weird. So with this one, that's when I do the field first. Then you can do Ice Spike. And then again, you just kind of like hang out here. You get everyone frozen. And technically, if you have the Ice Spike perk, I'm not like hard cooldowning because I'm doing commentary. If you have the Ice Spike perk, you want to do that after you do the Frost. So yeah, you do that. Then maybe you get a root, and then maybe you open that up, and then you can pop your thing, and then you can shift on over. Then you put down your ring, then you do the thing, and then like heal the orb, and now we're like back at full. So this guy's like, even if you do it slow and kind of scuffed, it's pretty fine. And then we just have crazy damage. Also, there's like a lot of weird and ugly enemies in that part, and they don't really pull that great. So yeah, you tag them. That way everything kind of groups up all nice. Here's what I can put down I was about to say, you put down the field. Get him cold. Hit him with that. And then this is what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, see, like the orb comes back, does crazy damage. You swing the Void Blade. You get that again. You get your orb. And then you can do all that. And we just took out all those enemies. So that's how fast it is. These guys haven't even spawned yet. We can wait for them to spawn. And then that's when we just kind of jump down, pull those guys with it this time. And we run the loop again. And I'm going to do that for all my other weapon guides, by the way. Like, comment, subscribe. Going to be covering all kinds of stuff because I did level up most of the weapons to level 20. I did invest in some interesting gear sets. And the cool thing is, I found a lot more fun builds than I was expecting. Like, I'm never going to run Ice Gauntlet or Void Gauntlet. Why would I do that? Because can't do that single player in like crazy PvE scenarios. You're a mage. You're going to be squishy and just try and do like rangy stuff. And like the Void Blade seems kind of cool, but why would I go into like a mana user when I can just have a great axe or a great sword and just get in there in a, you know, build that's meant to be super brawly and super berserkery. But no, like this is actually like super awesome and fun. That happened for most of the weapons as well. So it's gonna be kind of cool to show off on the guides. But yeah, the reason why I do spikes here first is actually you wanna slow down a little bit when you get to that corridor, so that way everything lines up, and then like you can get the big hit on that, and it gives you a little bit of space for you to just kind of set up the rest of your combo. And then you want to make sure like all of your abilities go off, and if it gets bad, I have the Heart Rune of Stone Form, so I don't get like super knocked down. And then you just kind of reset everything. And it's crazy. It's crazy what you can get away with. Ancients are weak to Void. The Lost are weak to Ice. So depending on like if you find a high level area that you want to do a lot of farming on for whatever reason, that's when you can switch around your gems or maybe whatever harnessing you have, and you just get more damage to wreck them with. And it goes pretty well. And I think that's kind of everything. Outside of that, yeah, we're using Constitution food, and then you use whatever coatings and wards and stones you can afford. You just kind of run it down, and this is still like not even this and kind of budget, like end game budget, and we can still get away with a lot of stuff. And then we just have our rotations, and we just kind of do whatever we need to do. Also, you can use your Ice Spike to cancel the Q, which kind of gives you some reliability while you have the grit, though it does drop some DPS. And then you just kind of switch, hit F, hit R. Don't really use heavy attacks, which is also why our Void Tree doesn't completely finish. And then you throw out the orb, and as you saw, like the healing and damage, which is super duper crazy, gave us all of our mana back, and then we just do it again. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.